Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2021. You are tuned in to formerly Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn on KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global radio station. And I'm so excited to announce two things. One is Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn is now Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. I'm so excited about the new name and what 2021 is going to hold for that. It's just so fitting because I have awesome guests on the show. And today I have a phenomenal powerhouse HBCU grad, which you know I love, Chanel Smith. I'm so excited about Chanel. Hey, Chanel. And so we're excited to share with you what we're going to talk about. I am wearing, if you can see that, my Southern University shirt. And Chanel, show us what your shirt says.
Oh, I'm wearing the HBCU walking billboard, kind of off the shoulder sweat.
So cute, and I need one of those in my life. So cute, super cute. I'm so excited. It's a new year, and we are pivoting with the pandemic. We're not in the studio today. I am at home. Chanel is at home, and we are zooming in from the comfort of our homes and being safe. Amen. So we're safe, and we're still going to move forward with our inspirational talk about HBCUs. COVID has stopped so many things, but it has not stopped Jessica Lynn Speaks Life. It has not stopped KUAW, and it certainly has not stopped Miss Chanel Smith with her mission to empower students to think HBCU. I'm an HBCU grad of Southern University, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So excited. And I'm a proud Jaguar for life. And Chanel is a Fisk University alumni, and she has started her own nonprofit. And the nonprofit is called HBCU Walking Billboard. I'm going to let her talk about it, but I just kind of wanted to introduce her. I met Chanel several years ago. We were supporting HBCU grads with send-offs. I believe it was like a December or summer thing. I'm not sure. But we did it in December and in the summer. Sending kids off that attend HBCUs. And for those that you do not know, the acronym is Historically Black College and Universities. And so it's very near and dear to my heart. Her nonprofit is, and I'm honored to open up 2021 with talking about the HBCU Walking Billboard. I am excited about what she's doing, and I would love for you to check her out and check out her organization. I'm going to let Chanel talk a little bit. Just give us a quick introduction, Chanel, of you, your high school. You graduated from Fisk, but you can say that again, your major, and just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Chanel Smith. I am a Kansas City native, a graduate of Lincoln College Preparatory Academy. From there, I went on to attend Fisk University. From Fisk University, I actually went to UNKC Law School for a brief spell. Then from there, I worked at the Full Employment Council as a youth development career executive. And then I became a teacher, and it was in the classroom. It was my work with FEC that led to the classroom, and it was the classroom that led to what is now HBCU Walking Billboard. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our mission is to promote awareness of, attendance to, and graduation from historically Black colleges and universities.
Awareness of, attendance to,
and graduation from historically Black colleges and universities.
From graduation from Black colleges. I love it. I absolutely love it. One thing that I tell people when I speak to them about HBCUs is Black colleges, be a graduate, not an attendant. We have seen many come and go, and I'm sure you can identify with that, that many come and go. And the HBCU experience, even though you went to Fisk, and we have friends that went to Howard and Dillard and, Grambling, the HBCU experience, I've been to two HBCUs, went to two, one in Texas College, and then I transferred to Southern. The experience is the same, would you say?
I would definitely agree with that. I think there are just certain norms that exist on every HBCU campus.
And I think one of them is community, and one of them is family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I had instructors that were like my parents,
Yeah.
literally. Um, Experience. It was a unit, and it's 5 years of my life, 1 year in Texas and four at Southern, um, that I never experienced racism on campus. And that's one of the things that's so profound. And when I was in it, I didn't think about it. But looking back, the only time that I ever experienced racism was, and that's one of my big things about thinking HBCU right now. They're for us. Um, they're by us and for us. Talk to us a little bit about the students that you're wanting to get involved with the HBCU Walking Billboard and whatever it is you have on your list that you want to share.
Well, I mean, primarily, we just want to share that we're here. In terms of services, we are still fleshing out our programming for 21, but we do know that in Q2 of this year, we do plan to launch our HBCU Prospects program, which is designed in a cohort model suited with college readiness and test preparation to help students get into HBCUs. And that is the second layer of our mission with the attendance to portion. But outside of that, I think the big thing for us this year is to make sure that we're on the radar. We have a lot of college readiness and college assistance programming in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. But what makes us unique is that we are tailored specifically towards the HBCU experience. And that is something that our city is missing and something that our city could benefit from, because our city is not in close proximity to most HBCUs. And so as a result, it's like you become really familiar with what you're around. And our kids are around schools that don't always offer what they need. And so having the opportunity to expose them to various institutions across the South and the East of the national landscape that were designed with them in mind and continue to thrive with them in mind, that is our number one goal. So it's what sets us apart. It's also what can sometimes make people question, like, what are we here for? So I hear the question all the time, like, what is a billboard? Why did you choose that? Why is that the thing? And the reality is that when you're driving down the highway and you see a billboard, it is a massive representation of something or someone. And that is what HBCU Walking Billboard strives to become. We strive to be the massive representation of HBCUs in our area so that students are aware, so that families are more comfortable. Because again, we're not in close proximity. And so families can sometimes struggle with, releasing the birds from the nest to go so far away. We want to be able to kind of fill that gap and really provide part of the give back once those prospects become rookies and those rookies graduate from those HBCUs and become alum. We want them to feel like they have a space and a catalyst to give back to the next generation of HBCU students.
Absolutely. I love it. I think a lot of the HBCUs are, of course, down south, but we have two that's closer to Kansas City. But I think it's about the awareness. And so Lincoln University in Jefferson City and Harris Stowe in St. Louis, they're not too far from Kansas City, but I think they don't get the recognition, or the counselors are not really pushing and thinking HBCUs. One of my questions to you is, are you reaching out to the counselors in the high schools and the school board to try to get them to understand the importance of HBCUs and to push those scholarships and things that are available to their students here in Kansas City?
Most definitely. And so that's where I would say where the pandemic and the pivots in the pandemic have been sometimes annoying and uncomfortable, I will say that has been a huge benefit for us as an organization in its infancy. We are able to be really present because of the virtual space. And so in this weird time, we've established relationships with Oak Park School District. We've already worked the last 2 years with Park Hill. Definitely worked with KCPS because that's my home. That's where I work full time as an administrator. Shout out to the Knights. And then University Academy, because that's where HBCU Walking Billboard was born. And then, 2020 Leadership. We have a partnership with them. We were able to participate with some of their events, Awesome Ambitions, and Prep KC is on the radar for some partnership as well. And so like these mentorship and college readiness programs that already exist even recognize the potential in the partnership with us, because the focus has been on the aggregate of college, but not on the specificity of the HBCU. And so we still are filling a void and able to provide information and opportunity that they might not have otherwise known. A really good example of that would be, we were working with Oak Park High School. They had 2 opportunities for us to come in and do just kind of an overview of HBCUs for their students. And what we realized is that a lot of their students were, really not very familiar with HBCUs. But once we exposed them to the Common Black College application, they were really excited about the opportunity to apply to so many HBCUs for such a low cost, one upload, just increasing the number of students that could apply, be accepted. I told students this is a great way to differentiate your college options. Like, you don't want to confine yourself. So if there's a way for you to apply to 50 plus schools for less than $30, do that. You never know. So yeah, we're definitely working with and growing our network of high school partnerships.
Awesome. I see someone that is watching us, and I'm just blown away. Derek Warren is wow. He's a leader at Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wow. Hi, Derek. Thank you for tuning in. SU, and that alone means so much for me, for you to be tuned in on this live. The feeling of accomplishment, the feeling of being accepted and not a number. That is one of the things that I really took away from the Black college experience.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Southern when Shaquille O'Neal was at LSU, and I actually, once I moved off campus, I lived on LSU's campus. Now, LSU is in Baton Rouge as well. That's Louisiana State. And they had a bus that took students to and from LSU and Southern, and it was free because you could take courses at both schools. And Shaquille O'Neal was taking courses at Southern University, and just to see where he is now and know, hey, I went to college with him. He went to LSU, but a lot of people don't know he took classes at Southern University as well. And I just think it's just so awesome, the pride that we have, you and Fisk, and when we do the HBCU send off, all of the alumni, the pride that they have. It's an unspeakable experience, and not to mention the Bayou Classic and the homecomings and all of those things. But one of the things that I want to talk to you about is when you're talking to the students, when you're introducing them to this experience or telling them about it, it could be pretty appetizing because it's a Black college experience, and it goes along with a lot of good partying and all those things. But we want to make certain that these kids know that they're going in for a purpose. And so you and I both, I haven't even talked to you about this, but I know that you've seen them come and go because that's just part of life. And so we saw students come and go at the HBCU as well as other schools. But the HBCUs, it's just something about the way we get together and the way we're festive, and it's so fun. And you can get caught up in that. You can get severely caught up in that. I mean, I literally lived 45 minutes from the French Quarter. So, we would go down at 2:00 in the morning and just have a good time. But, I had to get my stuff. I had to get my stuff first. And so that was my thing, the study habits and making certain that, you can still have fun, but the fun is always going to be a party. It's always going to be a party. And so talk to us a little bit about how you are talking to students about that, or even when the students, like last summer when we did the send off, I thought that was pretty awesome how you had the alumni give a word or something. I don't know if you're in touch with any of those students, but any stories that you can share about any of the students that have experienced the send off and have benefited from it.
Yeah, so the students who experienced last year's send off and this year's send off all have seen kind of HBCU walking billboards catering toward them grow. We were established so organically that a lot of formality just wasn't there, especially for the rookies. Like we just knew that there were babies coming out of Kansas City going to HBCUs, and as an HBCU alumni network, we wanted to be able to support them. That's all we knew. We didn't know anything else. And from that, I feel like the rookies have actually been the personnel to give us the type of input to help us grow our programming to where we currently are. So many of them are on our rookie listserv. We send them a monthly newsletter where they receive updates on scholarship opportunities, internship opportunities. We highlight a rookie of the month. They get to know any happenings with HBCU Walking Billboard. All of the rookies have the opportunity to serve as what we call media specialists. So if we're doing a panel, or if, today one of them were available, they're always welcome to represent HBCU Walking Billboard and be a billboard for us. And so our rookie network has actually grown, not by much, but we're seeing like more traction in Kansas City as people find out who we are, just adding emails to our listserv of students who are from our area and currently attending HBCUs. But we've warned them, like it's kind of like oldest child syndrome. Like, y'all were the firstborn and we're finding all these ways to try to support y'all, but we're also about to have these prospects. So the babies are coming, and babies steal all the attention. So get that get the getting while the getting is good.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, and we do little fun like contests for them. So around Giving Tuesday, we had a video contest for them, and we had a rookie roundup where they could have people donate to some of our offsite methods like Cash App or PayPal or Venmo, and then just kind of tag that rookie, and whatever rookie raised the most money also won a cash prize. And so those are the small ways that we're able to support them right now, with hopefully in the future being able to grow our support to include scholarships and internships at our provision.
Well, I think it's awesome. I see you out there. I see you doing your thing. And that's one of the reasons that I called you. First of all, I love what you do, and it's dear to my heart. But I see you out there. You're visible on social media. You're putting in the work. And whatever I can do with my show or platform, and then too with Giving Hope and Help, we would love to offer our scholarships to your students that you encounter, have you share our scholarship opportunity. The application will be coming out by the end of the week. It'll be on our Giving Hope and Help Giving Hope and Help website, and these students can apply for the scholarship. They have to be a senior in high school, but they can apply. And with the send off, of course, with your body of students, whoever you get, your prospects, your rookies, we're excited to support them with toiletries and feminine products, through their college career. We're excited to support them with toiletries and feminine products. Maybe that you may get their college career. We're excited to support them. They may need the extra funding. Maybe that you may get their college career. Whatever we can do to supply them with things that they don't have to spend money on to help. Whatever we can do, panels. I know last year I was asked to come out to Oak Park. My schedule didn't allow me to, but I'm looking forward to supporting this year, if I can. And so if you're tuned in to Jessica Lynn Speaks Life, we are speaking with Chanel Smith, who is the founder of HBCU Walking Billboard. So we're talking HBCUs today. She herself is a graduate of Fisk University, and I am a proud graduate of Southern University. We're both HBCU grads. It's near and dear to our heart. And we want to recruit and get kids aware. I think the biggest thing is to make them aware, because they don't know. A lot of them don't know they have the options. We live in the heart of America, and it's just not talked about like it should be. Lincoln University and Harris Stowe are talked about more now than they were ever talked about when I was in high school. And so what drew me to an HBCU was my high school counselor. And so I think it's very important that these high school counselors get educated on the HBCU opportunity. My high school counselor graduated from Southern University, where I ended up graduating from. Now she, supported me into applying for a scholarship in Texas, and I got it. But I wanted a bigger experience. And Southern University at the time was the largest HBCU in America. And I said, I'm going here. And it just happened to be the one that she graduated from. But without her influence and without my Black history teacher in high school, yes, we had Black history at East High School, and I took it in 10th grade. But my mother always educated us anyway about, inventions and people that were Black that brought great contributions to America. So I was always interested in that. But some students they don't have that. They don't have that parent at home. They don't have that. They don't even have Black history at their school. So, they are just completely numb and unaware of what this is about. And so if you are tuned in to this show, please share it. Share it. HBCU Walking Billboard. How can they reach you?
So we're on all socials at HBCU Walking Billboard. And then our website is www.hbcuwalkingbillboard.org, where they can learn more about our mission, our programs, meet our board, shop for HBCU Walking Billboard apparel. One thing I want to name is there are lots of HBCU apparel companies out there, and we are not their competition. We actually promote and support them with our social media platforms as well. Any paraphernalia sold or merchandise for HBCU Walking Billboard is sold as the funds for our programming. So we are a nonprofit true and through. We are not a competitive apparel brand. That's not who we are. But I will also name that apparel is a huge way to spark the conversation about HBCUs, and to know that, the alumni network for HBCUs, that pool is super deep. And we love the gear. We always want to represent ours exclusively, everybody's. We just are that kind of a close-knit community. But one of the things you said that I thought that I wanted to kind of hit on a little bit was when you were talking about the party aspect of college. It's so funny to me that sometimes when people try to persuade students away from HBCUs, because that's a real thing. There are people who believe that the HBCU experience is somehow subpar, and so they try to convince students that it's not going to be the best experience for them. And that is sometimes part of that verbiage. They're party schools, and it's hello, every college is a party school. That's part of college. But the crazy part is that every college can't say that they have a Miss House like I had at Fisk University, who reserved my spot every single night. I came in there at the same time to study. She didn't let anybody else sit there. When freshmen got confused and thought that was an open space, she would kick them out. Every school doesn't have that level of compassion and real life family. She took care of me and made sure I had my spot to study. Every school is also not situated in the same level of distraction in terms of a city. So a student who's at UAPB, the party is going to be on campus. That's, you in a little pocket of Arkansas. Whereas a student who's in the AUC at Spellhouse or Clark, they in Atlanta. The turn up is all around them. Yeah. And so the distraction isn't always confined to the campus. Sometimes the distraction is in the environment that the school is located, and it's still the oneness is on the student to make good choices. And so that is a myth.
Say that again.
It is. The oneness is on the baby. That's what college is. It's our what's the word what's the phrase, coming of age. Like college is like a coming of age experience where you're transitioning from being a baby to a grown-up, and part of being a grown-up, or as we call adulting, is just making better choices. So some nights you're gonna make a bad choice, you're gonna go out, you're gonna turn up a little too far when you should have turned off, you still turning up, and the next thing you know, you miss a class or you didn't do a paper. You learn from that experience. Like that's a part of the college journey. That's not somehow selective only for HBCUs. So we have that little series of quick hits with Support Saturday. We have another one coming up with Misconception Mondays, and that's one of the misconceptions we talk about is this whole false narrative that HBCUs are party schools. Like, no, we're not. We're colleges. Colleges and universities.
I think that the misconception is when we get together as a group, we have fallen into that really being our own worst enemy. When we get together as a group, it's a problem. LSU had just as many parties, if not more. I mean, that was even a bigger school. Yeah. So, I mean, it was right there in the city. So you had your choice of what you wanted to do. When it rubber meets the road, like I said in the beginning, you and I both saw them come and go.
Yeah.
Know your why. Know your why. And I really knew my why because I left a full 4-year scholarship. I didn't have to pay anything. Books, everything was paid. I left that in Texas and transferred to Southern. And I was on my own. I had to figure it out. How is this going to be paid for? And so I knew that, you know, I can party on the weekends if I choose to, but Monday through Thursday, I'm hitting the books and I'm ahead of the game so that I can make the grade and so that I know that I'm on point.
Yeah.
A lot of kids don't do that.
Yeah.
When it's given to them, when they are there and they don't have to pay the tuition, they don't have to figure it out. Mama's going to pay for it, or I got a scholarship, and they can fail out. And so the knowing your why is really, 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 really big.
I definitely agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I would add though that, you know, that come and go happens everywhere too. You know, that's also not something that is exclusive to HBCUs. That's legitimately a part of the college and university experience. I mean, some of the larger institutions are even intentional about weeding out, like that's part of their goal, you know, like to stay competitive or whatever their aim is for making sure kids fail out of school is crazy to me. But
they want the true and the crimson of the
cup. Like it's a real thing. But the other thing I know from my experience at Fisk is that, you know, for some of our students, it was definitely the imbalance. Like they partied and sometimes it wasn't even the party so much as it was the independence. Like no one was waking them up. No one was reminding them to do their homework. Like they were so used to having their hands held that they just didn't fare well or weren't ready to be completely independent. But the other layers were financial. A lot of the students that did not return to Fisk over the course of my time there simply didn't have the money. And that is a very real fact. When we talk about college in general, college is expensive, period. It doesn't matter where you're going. We're talking thousands. Anytime you put a comma somewhere, it's expensive, especially for working class families or families who live right above the poverty line. So at HBCUs, first gens are still a thing. We're going to be a thing for a while. And so a lot of times they're coming from families, or I was one, coming from families that don't have the means to provide additional financial support. So that's another reason that I see students leave. And then honestly, I feel like sometimes students don't fare well at HBCUs because there are personal things that arise or are unresolved when they get there. And I know that from firsthand experience. When I went to Fisk, my mom and stepfather were in the middle of a not so great divorce. We had just reached our 12th eviction over the course of my life. And I was couch surfing, staying with my cousin, sleeping on his floor until I left for school. And that isn't, for me, what that meant when I got there, I was extremely homesick. And I was like my mama's little sidekick. I helped her with my younger siblings, things like that. And so it was like tough for me to know that they were at home struggling. And then so it made it kind of difficult for me to like enjoy the beginning of my college experience. Like that was
So
really
you were worried
hard.
about what was going on at home?
Yeah, I was just concerned about what was going on at home. And I remember my mom, I went to a little corner store, got my little calling card, called my mom from the payphone, and I just was bawling like I gotta come home. Like this ain't good. Like I can get a job, I can take classes at night, we can figure it out. And my mom was like, girl, you are crazy. You are not leaving that school. And basically she was like, in the midst of all this burden, you being there is a blessing. It's a blessing to you, it's a blessing to me. And you staying there. So she was like, cry, do whatever you gotta do, but I will see you at Thanksgiving. Like you are not coming home. And so I think that sometimes, every parent or family isn't in the same position or doesn't have the same, even just like wherewithal to know to sacrifice like that. Like she could have said, yeah, please come home, help. She could have, but she didn't.
Get a job. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so with all of that, that's some students would have, bucked their mom and went home anyway. There are days I wonder how life would have panned out if I did that. So it all could pan out differently depending on the choices that we make. And so I saw that often as well at Fisk. I saw people just have like personal stuff at home that they couldn't stomach to be away from.
Wow. And that I can agree and totally get it as well, because the stories of people that you meet, and myself, I mean, my parents didn't have the extra money. And the other thing too is, like you said, some parents haven't gone through it themselves, so they really can't tell you anything other than something like your mother said, stay or come home.
Yeah.
And for those parents that encourage their children to stay, it's like, not only is this going to be good for you, but this is going to be good for the legacy of our family.
Oh yeah.
And so for the first generations, I'm a first generation college graduate and an HBCU graduate. And
hey,
then,
me too, girl.
And it's something about, being that first.
It is.
Because I have many cousins behind me. I come from a very large family. And I have many cousins that behind me that are doctors and lawyers, college grads. And it's just like, wow, they had somebody to look at, not saying that they said that they wanted to be like me, but it is clearly an influence when you are the first one in the family to achieve something like that. And of course, my parents were super proud and let everybody know that their daughter graduated from college. I think my mother's still telling people, but one of the things that I want to talk about is postgraduate studies. Mm-hmm. And I want to shut down that myth to anyone that's tuned in. And one thing for me is you cannot talk about an HBCU, any HBCU, in my presence unless you've been to one. So I will shut you down.
Unless it's positive. Unless it's a glowing report. If you're giving a glowing report,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Talk on. But if it's all negative,
you can't negatively put your mouth on an HBCU.
Zip it, lock it, and put it in your pocket because we ain't trying to.
Correct. Unless you have had the HBCU experience. But one of the things that people, like you were saying, is a par education. That's all a myth. If you graduate from an HBCU, you are well prepared for medical school, law school, MBA or whatever. I went on straight through. I think I took 8 months off and then I went on and got my master's. I was the youngest in my class at Baker University for that class to get my master's. And I mean, I was well prepared.
Oh yeah.
Well prepared.
I mean, if we're just being really honest, this is one of the things that I had to just kind of go up against in my career as an educator. We want to try to really like push kids into the Ivies or the top 25% according to whoever's reporting. When at the end of the day, we need to be pushing students to the places and spaces that are going to give them a memorable experience and prepare them for whatever industry they plan to enter. That's it. And the truth of the matter is that for me, the Harvard experience was something I never wanted. I never wanted that. I have, as a Black woman in America, I have my entire life to enter into spaces where I am the minority, to enter into spaces where my credentials are going to be questioned or my capabilities are wondering because of the color of my skin or my gender. Put it both out there. So to me, I don't want to go to school with a whole bunch of rich white kids. That was not for me. Now, for some people, that's their ambition, that's their vision, and that's fine. But I knew very young that that wasn't for me. Now, could I compete? Yeah, I could probably do circles around some of the kids at Harvard, being completely honest. And that's not arrogant, it's just fact. You know, it is what it is. However, I didn't want to. And students coming from, especially like where I'm from, where college experiences are not always sold with you as the image. You know what I mean? Like the pamphlets, the brochures, that you ain't the person that's on there.
You're not even seen.
They ain't thinking about me. So they need to hear the stories of people who have gone to historically Black colleges and universities, or, you know, just as a sidebar, Black people who have had a college experience, because a lot of times the people in front of them don't look like them. And it's really hard for sometimes for it to resonate with you how attainable something is if you don't see yourself as a part of the picture. That is why HBCU Walking Billboard is important to me. I've been in urban ed for over 15 years. And what I see is that students are oftentimes discounted and discredited simply because of where they're from and how they look, not recognizing that there are these 100 plus institutions across America that are seas and pools of Black excellence. And if you don't see Black excellence in your neighborhood, if you are unfortunately placed in a situation where the school that you attend for high school, elementary, or middle is not a pool of Black excellence, then you start to, you don't have a base. You don't know that that's a real thing, that it happens, that it's a possibility for you. The HBCU experience is exactly where something like that comes to life and becomes very real for students who might not have otherwise thought it. It matters. It
matters. And it's, again, I'll go back. It's by us and for us.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated high school, I had several scholarships from white schools too, but I had applied for the full ride at Texas College. Hadn't heard back. So I went forward and I was ready for MU. I mean, I had my roommate and everything. And I was ready to move in. And my dad was driving me around to all these different schools and we were looking at them. And I just said, I guess I'm just going to have to go to MU because I hadn't heard back from Texas yet. Well, it was a week before I was to move in my dorm.
Oh, wow.
Because, you know, you go a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my roommate and wow, I got a letter from Texas College and it was a full ride. Everything was paid.
Wow.
And mind you, I said my dad was taking me around to different schools to visit. And I said, Dad, are we going to go visit? I got a scholarship there. He said, no, we're not going to visit. I said, why not? He says, we're taking you there. That's where you go. He said, you'll visit it when you get there. And he said, ain't no need in visiting because that's where you're going. They gave you all that money. That's where you're going. And so when I decided to leave there, he told me I was on my own. But that experience there, and I not graduated from there, but left there with a 3.8.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that I did bad. It's just that I wanted it was a very small private school, and I wanted a larger experience. And so when I made that decision, my parents said, you know, you're on your own. We just can't afford it. We can't afford to, we can't afford to put you somewhere else. And that's even farther away from Kansas City, 16 hours one way. And I said, I'm going to do it. But it wasn't anything to me to say I'm going to do it because that's been my life.
Yeah.
You make it happen if that's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And that's what I tell kids today. There's really no excuse. You can do it if you put your mind to it.
Yep.
And so I interned here in Kansas City in corporate America through Inroads, which shout out to Inroads Kansas City. I'm an Inroads alumni, and that gave me an opportunity you know, to have an income every single summer, Christmas break, spring break. If I came home, I had a job in corporate America, and I saved that money, and that paid for me to go back to Southern. And I made it work. Sometimes I worked 3 jobs, my corporate job and 2 part-time retail jobs to get a car to go back. And I did. And have I told you the Delta story? Okay, so I was going to pledge, and I went to the Rush, and it was $600. And I came home for summer, because when I went back, it was going to be the time to pledge, and it was $600. And I needed a car to go back. I needed a car. I was desperate for a car, because I moved off campus. I was on LSU's campus. I was riding that bus back and forth, and I just wanted a car. I needed a car to, you know, get back and forth from Kansas City to Baton Rouge. Didn't want to buy airline tickets anymore. And I told my dad, I need a car. And he said, well, we can get you a used, you know, Ford Escort. Those were really big back then. And I said, Dad, I don't want a Ford Escort. He says, well, what do you want? I said, I want a brand new car. He said, how are you going to get a brand new car? I said, I'm going to work for it. And I wanted to pledge Delta. And he said, do you want Delta or a car? I made the car red.
Adulting. You were adulting. Yeah.
And that you know, I went back on campus with a brand new red Honda Civic hatchback, brand new, girl. You could tell me nothing.
I bet. You was fancy.
Yes, ma'am. I had a brand new, the fresh new car smell. I worked my internship and 2 part-time jobs in 1 summer to get enough, and my dad co-signed.
Wow.
For me, and I made enough to where I could pay my note, you know, throughout the semester until I came back home and worked again.
Yeah.
And, you know, did little jobs on campus or whatever. But saying all that to say, it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done if you put your mind to it.
It definitely can be. I think that one of the things that this generation has at their disposal that we didn't was an adult generation before them that recognizes the power of a work-life balance and slowing down a bit. We didn't have that, right? So for us, it was like, get in there, you got 4 years, anything longer than that, blah, blah, blah. But now students are encouraged to have a 5-year college experience. And I think that can help many students in terms of the course load, because sometimes, especially for students who come from income backgrounds, they do require them to work while they're in school. They can lighten their load and still, you know, be in a socially acceptable position. Because when we were in school, it was like, if you didn't graduate in 4 years, people side on you like, what you doing, you know? But now
transferred or
right,
change a major, you know.
But now students are encouraged to take their time through the college experience. And at first I was like kind of skeptical about that. You know, I'm like, that's another year of tuition but at the end of the day, you know, at 21, 22, you still a baby anyway. You know, there's still a lot to learn. So it doesn't make too much of a difference. So I think that helps for especially students who take a while to find their footing in a new space or a new city. Yeah.
She's my daughter's Jackson State. I mean, they gave me the hardest time when I went there to tour it. I was actually traveling, and I was in Jackson, Mississippi, and I went to tour it without my daughter, her senior year of high school, and they gave me the hardest time. I mean, they just, you know, joked on me because here I am, a Southernite, and I'm up here visiting the number 2 rivalry. Because Gramblin's our number 1 rivalry, and then Jackson State's our number 2. And they just gave me the hardest time. But I just told them, Southern doesn't have the theater program. My daughter wants the theater.
Right.
They had a phenomenal theater program there. And my daughter went to Jackson State, and she didn't do it traditionally. You know, she got pregnant, got married, and had to come home. But she's still there online. She's still a tiger online.
That's what's
and I have told her over and over and over, everybody has their own path.
Yep.
Don't allow the 4 years, because you didn't do it in 4 years, put you down.
Yep.
When I went to Southern, there was a 74-year-old woman that graduated. 74 years old. She graduated from Southern while I was there. It is never too late. I wasn't telling my daughter it's going to take you that long, but I was just saying it doesn't matter how long you do it, how long it takes to do it. Just do it. Yep. Don't compare yourself to others. You had a different path. You chose a different path.
Yep.
And so these are some of the consequences that come along with it. You know, it may take you a little bit longer. And so hopefully she'll graduate this December or either next January. But I told her, it doesn't matter. You know, your babies can walk the stage with you. You did it.
They get to see it. They get to witness it. You know, I still reflect on my family here. When I graduated from Fisk University, my family, my mother, my grandmother, and my church family all went in on a Kincaid bus. They rented a motor coach to come see me graduate from college. And I ain't gonna lie, it was a little embarrassing because it was a big old bus. Everybody else's parents and family were in, like, you know, minivans and SUVs. And my family rose up on this big old bus with noisemakers, and it I mean, my classmates still talk about it, like, girl, all them people, but it just spoke to me about the volume of what was happening. My mom had 3 other children. They were watching me. You know, my little cousins, I have 2 at HBCUs right now. One of them is at Harris Stowe, and the other one is at your rival, Grambling. And, you know, they were watching, though. They were babies, and they were watching. And so I didn't realize it then. You know, at 22, I'm like, okay, y'all just get off the bus regular. Like, don't, y'all done enough. Like, don't embarrass me. But as an adult, you know, I realized that the statement they were making is that we did this. Like, all of us made sure that she got here and that she got done. And so when I'm hearing you talk about your daughter, when I'm thinking about my sister, she had a non-traditional collegiate experience as well, but she did it. You know, sometimes it is the combination of the village and the drive of the individual that is necessary. Some people have enough drive that if they don't get an ounce of support, they're going to be fine. But most people need somebody to encourage them, somebody to vent to, somebody to model after. And that is where HBCU Walking Billboard and HBCU alum come into play. We got to do our part, because there are young people sitting on college campuses, some of them not knowing if they're going to make it. They're concerned about the finances. They're struggling in organic chemistry. That took a lot of my homies out. So just thinking about what we can do to be there, even if we can't be there, but how can we support and encourage? Because that's really what makes the difference. Everybody that stepped off that bus on Fisk University's campus back in 2003 played a pivotal role in me maintaining my sanity to get that degree. Every last one of them. So if there are people who are coming from spaces where they might not have a village, then that's on us to create that village for them. That's our job.
And I'm honored to do it. I am honored to do it and help, you know, especially with the toiletries and whatever it is that they physically need. Because, you know, it was really tight for me in college. I mean, I had to make my way. And I knew that my parents didn't have the money. And so for me, it wasn't a big deal. It was just regular. I mean, I'll make it, you know, we always make it. And so that was just part of my DNA. But I can remember being so poor in college. And this is a true transparent moment. I was probably 110 pounds, if that. And I was on Slim Fast. I didn't have an eating disorder, but I was on Slim Fast because you could go to Walmart and buy this big canister of it for about $10, Slim Fast. And I would take it when I moved off campus in the morning so that I wouldn't be hungry on campus because I didn't have money to eat on campus, Chanel. I didn't have, I needed that money for my gas tank.
Yeah.
And so I had to prioritize.
Mhm.
And so I took Slim Fast in the mornings so I wouldn't be hungry until I got home. And I would eat tuna, ramen noodles. To this day, I don't want a ramen noodle because I literally lived on ramen noodles and tuna sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, yep.
And I can remember one Easter, I didn't get to come home for Easter and I only came home for maybe one Thanksgiving. Two out of 5 years I came home for Thanksgiving because it's just too far.
Yeah.
And you gotta the money money to fly or drive. And so I normally didn't come home for Thanksgiving. I came home for Christmas. But I remember one Easter, of course, never came home for Easter for one weekend. That was just too expensive. And so I was one of the only girls in the dorm. You know how the dorm just be completely empty. Everybody's gone this way, that way.
Ghost town.
And it was ghost. And I was one of the only girls in the dorm. And I had a guy friend, and he would come by the dorm and there was a little drive that was close to my dorm window, and he would honk the horn, and he honked Wes. He called me Wes. And I was like, oh my God, I knew that I was gonna get to eat. We went to rallies. You heard of rallies?
Yeah,
like checkers.
Like checkers.
We went to rallies, Hunty, and I got me a $3.29 value meal.
Yes, come on, value meal with the seasoned fries, the good
for Easter. And I will never forget that being my Easter dinner. And I called home, and of course they're eating everything.
Right.
And I said I had rallies, but I was so grateful for that hamburger and fry.
Yes. That's
real. A real college experience.
I'm telling you,
struggle.
It gets real. But here's the crazy part. Like, as I'm listening to you, listening to me, what I tell people all the time. So in education, we have all these buzzwords. Like buzzwords just kind of like pop up, and then they're like the trend. They're on trend for a school year or 2 or 5. And one of the buzzwords that's still alive and very well is grit. And so a lot of like educational professionals and researchers and all the people that make money off of the stuff like to use this term. And as a result, what can sometimes be misconceived is that students who are not faring well in high school don't know how to practice grit or don't have grit. But as I'm listening to you, that is somebody's 14-year-old life or somebody's 17-year-old life. They have grit. They got it. The question is, how do we get them to transfer that grit into a way that not only promotes survival, but also helps set them up academically to be in a competitive enough space to go to the college of their dreams, if that's in the cards for them. If not, to be able to pass the ASVAB, to be able to pass the post office test, because the good jobs still require a level of competence that we want to make sure our babies have. And so for me, it's like I hear us, and I know that you and I have been through a ringer, but I got babies that are going through that, and somehow we're questioning their grit. No, they gritty. They got grit. We just got to get them to figure out how to transfer it. Yeah, so they don't have to stay in that situation. So yeah. Another way HBCU Walking Billboard comes into play.
Exactly. And just the awareness that people need to be aware. Oh yeah. And so for those that are recently tuned in, we have several people that have recently tuned in. Tell them how they can reach you, Chanel, how they can get involved. If anyone's tuned in and they want to support HBCU Walking Billboard, how can they do that?
So we, on our website, www.hbcuwalkingbillboard.org, we do offer, there's a contact page where you can send us an email with any questions or any services you'd like to provide. On our homepage, there is a donate button. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so any donations are tax exempt. And then outside of that, on all socials, we are at HBCU Walking Billboard. So you can follow us, you can tag us, you can like us. Next month, we do have our social media event, HBCU Walking Billboard calendar, where each HBCU is assigned a specific day to wear your HBCU gear, post, shout out your school, donate to your school. But for HBCU Walking Billboard, Black History Month is rooted in HBCUs, and we celebrate our own for all the days, every last one of the days.
I love it. And to be honest, we need to be celebrating it every single day of the year.
Yes.
We can find an inventor or a contributor. Wow. How about Miss Kamala Harris?
Mhm.
Wow. HBCU grad. For those of you that don't know, she is an HBCU grad. Certainly her education prepared her
Oh yeah.
to be the vice president of this United States of America.
Oh
And so,
yeah.
wow, so many great people have graduated from HBCUs. And I think because of where they are now, a lot of people don't know that they're HBCU grads.
Oh
We have
yeah.
judges, we have lawyers, we have so many. We have a father and son team that graduated from Southern, both graduated from Southern, and they own over 15 McDonald's.
Wow.
Yes, yeah, yeah, lots and lots and lots of stories and amazing accomplishments of people that have graduated from HBCUs. And so, for those of you that are tuned in, that are parents, um, that are second guessing having your child even apply to an HBCU, I feel that you should educate yourselves.
Mhm.
Educate yourselves about HBCUs. And you can do that, one, by going to hbcuballkingbillboard.org. And you can also go to hbculifestyle.com. They have every HBCU in America listed, and they have where they are, HBCUs.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sensing a shift is coming. We've been talking about this for decades now, so it's nice to see some action start to occur. But more than anything, when it comes to HBCUs, the truth of the matter is that we all owe it to ourselves as alum to make sure that we are pushing for our schools. Like we just do. Because none of us will be where we were without that experience, and we want other people to have it. So in order for us to do that, we got to reach back. We got to reach back to the babies that are there now, the babies that could potentially go. What we can't do is, grow weary in doing good, because HBCUs are good work and they
Good work.
produce good people.
Exactly.
So it is tiresome at times. You really get tired of being, even sometimes, like, defensive and combative. I don't want to have to be that way. But like you said earlier, like when the conversation is leaning in a negative direction, or I can sense that we are attempting to sway students from an HBCU decision, then the gloves come on. Cause no, no,
I'm a
no.
product,
Yeah.
I'm a product, so you can't talk about HBCU. and I have a master's degree from a PWI. So what?
Same.
Yeah, and I knew that. Where did you get your master's from?
I have a master's from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and then an education specialist from Webster University.
I'm sure that Fisk University prepared you, the foundation.
Most definitely.
And even a African American high school. I mean, I graduated from.
Oh yeah.
Geez, unbelievably, we're out of time already.
That was fun.
No,
that was
it
quick.
went by fast. It went by fast. Listen, everybody, you have been tuned in to Jessica Lynn Speaks Life, the new name, formerly Purpose, Passion, and Power with Jessica Lynn. I have had Chanel Smith on the show today. I'm just smiling. I don't know if I've smiled this much on the show before, but it's real smile because I'm so proud of you and everything that you're doing. You're doing the work. So, I don't have to do that work you're doing, but I can support you in the work that you're doing.
And I appreciate you because you have. And the reason the work has grown is because last year, what'd you say to me? If you don't sit down and do that 501c3 application, I was like, yes, ma'am.
And I forgot I told you that.
Yes.
I forgot I told you that until you reminded me. And that's just a prime example right there, Chanel. Sometimes people just need a little push.
Yep.
And I'm going to keep pushing.
I'm
going to keep pushing the students. And I'm just excited that you were on the show. I'd love to have you back. Love to collaborate and tell the community what we're doing.
I'm
Listen,
looking
you've been
forward
tuned
to it.
in to Purpose, Passion, and Look, I'm saying Purpose, Passion, and Power again. The new name.
You got it. You
Just
got
Living
it.
Speaks Life. Find Chanel Smith on all the social media platforms. HBCUWalkingBillboard.org is her website. HBCUWalkingBillboard.org. Go there, learn about the HBCUs, and support. $5 or more, however you want to support. Support how you can, because together we can make a difference, and together we can all change this world to make it a better place. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank
Be
you.
blessed. Thank you. You can stay on, Chanel, for a moment.